Guys, today I'm gonna be doing what if Naruto was an Eclipse Sage. Okay, so let's begin. Naruto, you have to stop rushing. You gotta calm down. You gotta let the chakra flow through you. Naruto says, okay, sensei, and he breathes in deeply. And instead of rushing, he calms down. He calms down. He calms down, and a white chakra flows through his body, and his clothes turn white, and his eyes glow a bright blue. And he says, I did it, sensei! And the aura, after he has this semi outburst, it goes away. And his sensei says, that was good. And he goes home. It's in the middle of the night, by the way. So he goes home, and he says, I did it, Mom, Dad. I activated for a split second. Even and his father Minato is like, haha. Only for a split second. And Kushina says, stop it. He's young and he did a good job. And he celebrates with some ramen. So then Kushina, after they're done, he says it's almost morning. Wait. In a few hours it's gonna be morning. You have to get some rest. And he says, okay, and Naruto goes to sleep. So they sleep in the day, they wake up in the night. So when he wakes up in the night, he eats his breakfast, and he goes into the village hidden in the mountains. So that's the village Naruto lives in. He goes, by the way, he's also the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. So basically what happens was that Minato's brother was the Nine-Tails host, but he didn't have any children, so he passed it down to Naruto. Because Minato was way too old to receive it, so he had to give it to Naruto, which was young, so he got the Nine-Tails. So let's enough explain. And he goes to the village and he says hi, and they all say hi to him, and he gets into the heart of the village, kind of the foundation, uh, where some mountain is, kind of holds up the whole village up. So they're like high up in the mountains, and he goes to his best friend's place, and he says, hi. Wait, there's a plane, so let me pause the recording. They come immunity to ice, cause they're 24/7 up in the cold mountains. So they play in the snow, and they make snowmans, and they throw snowballs at each other. And it's about about 12, is it 12 a.m. Yeah, 12 a.m. He goes to his master to start training. And he when he gets there, his sensei or master, Naruto's about 6 years old. And he does his daily routine, and he does it, then he goes home, he sleeps. The next day he goes to the village, he goes to the ramen shop, and he has a good fine time, really. And when he gets there, he eats his ramen, he goes back, he goes to train. And about like a year later, so a year later, Naruto, when he goes to his sensei this one time, he's about 7 years old, and he tells sensei has ramen, he has rice, he has so much food in a line, all Naruto's favorite food. And Naruto says, is it my early birthday or something? And he chows down into the food. And when he's done with the food, his belly's giant, not like giant, but you know what I mean when you eat too much and you have a little bit of food. And he he has a giant, and he says that we're gonna meditate. You can't open your eyes, nothing. This kind of like a test. He says, okay. And Naruto meditates for an hour straight without moving. And then he goes into his mind palace. His mind place, not mind palace, what I'm talking about. His mind place, and it's all white. And I'm gonna explain to you because this is like a separate place from the Nine Tails, by the way. And he lays there. It feels so nice. And he just lays there for about 2 hours and he says, I think it's enough. And when he comes out, his sensei is thinking, this kid was there for 2 days. He's a prodigy. And he's thinking, did I do it long enough? And sensei says, yeah. Naruto thinks this is just 2 hours. And he goes home and he says, how long you were there for 2 days? Wow. And he says, I think I know what training he did. When I was a kid, I did 10 hours straight. And Naruto says, what are you talking about? I was only there for 2 hours. And he shows him the calendar. His Minato shows him the calendar with 2 days has passed. And he says, wow. And the next day, he goes into the village. He plays with Masu. That's a girl, by the way. She's about Naruto's age. He plays with Masu, and they have a good time. He goes back. He goes to the shop and uses his savings to buy a cool frog toy, which when you insert some chakra into it, it starts leaping. And he buys it, and he goes trains with his sensei. And he goes home. It's about 3 year time skip, and his sensei calls Naruto um early, really early in the daytime, and he says, "Why did you?" Naruto says to his sensei, "Why did you wake me up in the middle of the day?" And he says, "Just He says that it's when you turn 10, this is annual, that you make do a summoning." And his sensei bites his finger and spreads it on his hand and hits the floor. And a decently about not that big, a kind of smaller than the usual owl, but it's really fast. And he spends the whole day, and it goes to night when he finally does it. When he does it, by the way, the summoning that you get is depending on your spirit. And when he does this, um, what's the name? What was I gonna say then? Oh yeah, he does the legendary 1000 owl. And when he's done, he sees this, he nearly faints. And he says, "What? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to summon you. This guy, he's an idiot. I'm so sorry." And he goes into the village and he says, "I'm gonna bring you an offering." And sorry if you guys hear like a movement. Excited, and he says, "Yeah." And he says, "Okay, since you know I'm very strong," and he says that I am the legendary 1000 and 100,000 owl. And he says, okay, um, and he says, okay, and he says, since I'm stronger than usual, you have to link my spirit to yours. And he says, okay, um, he says, okay, and he bonds his spirits with the owl for eternity. And he bonds his spirit with with the owl, and he decides that he's gonna and the owl tells him, if you want to summon me, just snap your fingers, or if you're knocked out, just come in your mind play, your mindscape, and call me. Naruto says, "Oh, cool," and he starts playing around with it, and he's just snapping his fingers, snapping his fingers. The owl just keeps appearing and in and out, in and out. And the sensei comes with food, and Naruto says, "Cool." And he says, Sensei not hits him with his staff and he said, "It's not for you." And he says it's for the legendary 100,000 hours. And he snaps his fingers, and he says, and the sensei, when he snaps his finger, the hour comes in. Sensei says, "Wait, what? You tamed the I mean you bonded your spirit with the legendary 100,000 owls? You mean the legendary 100,000 owls that can split himself into if he wants 100,000 parts, and the tinier he gets, the faster he gets." And it's rumored that a Sharingan user once summoned him and got the power of him, and he could deflect his Sharingan off it and took over a whole continent. And Naruto says that's quite a handful. And he says, Naruto asks the legendary 100,000 owl, "Do you have a name?" He says, "That's my name." And he says, "Okay, I'm gonna call you Howl." And he says, "As you wish, master." So about 6 months later, he's really good friends with Howl, and they've come, instead of a master-servant relationship, um, a friend relationship, and they become really good friends. And he learns how to use him in combat. About 2 months later, Naruto's 10 years, 8 months, and he finally masters it. He finally masters the his Eclipse Sage mode, and he says, "I did it!" Because, by the way, Naruto is an exceptionally more powerful than in the night than in the day. So his sensei says, "You've learned it. Now, I'm going to teach you something." And he says, "Okay." And he sits down and he breathes in. And he goes he goes what's the name? He goes Eclipse Sage mode to sensei. And he says, by the way, his sensei is his grandfather, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. And he tells him to that I'm gonna teach you how to use it. And Naruto, with so a lot more increased speed and about infinite chakra when the moon is up, he rushes the his sensei, and his sensei dodges him and punches him in the gut. And he says that with this Eclipse Sage mode, it's not about power, it's about finesse. And Naruto says okay, and next time he does it, he puts more thought into it. He doesn't just rush him. He observes the movement, and for some reason, with his glowing blue eyes, it's better. He can see what he's gonna do next, and he dodges hit the gut punch, and he says, "Wait, there's a plane coming. Let me pause my recording real quick." Howl in combat, and he also learns a few jutsu which his sensei taught him. He says he teaches him mostly water jutsu, which is amplified by Eclipse Sage mode. He teaches him water bullets, water prism, not prison, prism, and a few other attacks. And Naruto learns that the legendary 100,000 owl can do jitsu, and he teaches the the sensei teaches Naruto the signature the village hidden in the mountains jitsu. Um Eclipse mirror. And he says, with Eclipse mirror, whatever hits the mirror doubles the speed and power. And he teaches this to Howl, and he learns this. So Naruto reaches his 11th birthday. He parties, Masu and all his friends are there. But then, out of the blue, somebody attacks the village and they hear shrieks. And Sensei says, I will take care of this. And he activates Eclipse Sage Mode. And he brushes to see what's up. So the kids, which are Masu's little brothers, are there. And a few other kids younger than Naruto because cousins and all that. And he next thing you know, Sensei comes back with bleeding from his chest and he says, "Take the kids and run." And Naruto says, "Wait, I can't leave you, Sensei." And Minato and Kushina says, "Take them with your owl and we'll take care of this." By the way, the owl is pretty big. It's big as a house. That's why the more if it doubles, if it goes into two owls, it halves the size and it just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. Um and he says, "Oh, okay, father." And they both hear screaming. Naruto just keeps hearing screaming and he closes his eyes and while all the kids with him with him fly away. They fly for days until they come across a village, the Leaf Village, and he goes home. He finds a cave near the Leaf Village, near well in the Leaf Village, but not. It's kind of like at the border, and a cave, and they take refuge there, and he tells his owl, um, he tells him how 10,000 owls, and he multiplies, and he says send 5,000 to get food, 4,000 to get shelter, and the rest to get some kind of entertainment so the kids feel safer. And when they come back, Howell has a table, and he sets the table with food, with forks, and with gourmet food like um, ham, potatoes, um, ramen, and so many other good foods, and beds, and he makes a fire. The kids all munch into the food, not having eaten in a day, and they eat until they're full. And and they at the end of the day they go to sleep. At the end of the day they go to when the sun rises they go to sleep. And they go to sleep, and when they wake up, it's around 9 time, and around about middle of the day, not night time, middle of the day. And then Naruto senses a presence and activates Eclipse Sage Mode, and he snaps his fingers, and a howl comes. He senses a vast chakra signature right next to him, and and he says 10,000 owls, and he says water, Eclipse Water Bullet, which is 10 times by Naruto's Eclipse Sage Mode, and one bullet Hiruzen dodges this. When Howl deflects it with Eclipse Mirror, and Hiruzen keeps dodging this and dodging this and dodging this, and Howl just keeps doing this with 10,000 of his owls just circling Hiruzen, kind of creating an owl dome, which is impossible to escape Naruto's water bullet that keeps just multiplying. And Hiruzen says, "I'm not here to fight. Stop, stop." And he sees Hiruzen saying there's not attacking, seeing they're just a bunch of hungry kids, and Masu and other kids wake up, and he says, "Okay," and he snaps his finger, and the water bullet falls onto the ground. He says, "What do you want?" He says, "I'm here to investigate robberies. Where did you get all this food from?" He says, "Howell got it." He says, "Howell? I don't know who that is. He stole it." And he says, "Okay." And Hiruzen says, "Where's your families?" "I don't know. We're from the village hidden into the mountains." The Leaf Village has a really good relationship with the village hidden in the mountains. A Max man attacked, and Hiruzen lifts up Naruto's shirt and he sees, "I see. He was most likely after the Nine Tails." And he says, "I'll send my people to investigate to see where the damage, because the village hidden in the mountains is really big. It's not tiny, and it has decent amounts of military. And Minato just happened to be the Kage, and he thinks, and he says, he sends a troop to go scout. And by the way, Naruto and they all took him. They took the kids just in case it might have been a massacre, you know, and killed. If Naruto was an Eclipse age, hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, leave comments if you guys want me to do any give me a what if idea. And shout out to Eternal Darkness and Nexus Sonic. So that's where I'm gonna leave it off, guys.